Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madha Punjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Gopi Jana Vallabha Gidavaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Gidavaradari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Gopi Jana Vallabha Gidavaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Gidavaradari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Jayam Swa Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parivajakacharya Asatar Sita Sri Srimad Abhay Charnarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Swa Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parivajakacharya Asatar Sita Sri Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Sri Mathura Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Me Ki Jai, Yamuna Me Ki Jai, Tulasi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Sri Sri Gaur Ki Jai, Yogini Kadashi Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, the science of Krishna. Canto 3, the status quo. Chapter 4, Vidura approaches Maitreya. Text number 26. Uddhava Vacha Nanu Te Tattva Samsrajya Rishi Sararava Pantake Sakshat Bhagavatam Adishta Martilokam Jahasata. Madanga Prabhu, would you like to chant the Sanskrit, please?
Uddhava Vacha Manute Tattva Sangraja Nishi Kosharavantike Sakshat Bhagavatadisto Martyalokam Shihasata Uddhava Vacha Nanute Tattva Sangraja Shiko Sharavantike Sakshat Bhagavati Tishto Marjalakang Jihasata Uddhava Vacha Nanute Tattva Sangraja Shiko Sharavantike Sakshat Bhagavatadisto Jalokam Jihasata
Uddhava Vacha Ante Tattva Samradya Shikosharabomtike Sakshat Bhagavatadishto Manchalokam Jihasata.
Nanute tatta samradya Rishi Kosharavantike Sakshat Bhagavatadishto Martyalokam Jihasata.
Uddhava Vacha Nanute Tattva Samradya Rishi Kosharavantike Sakshat Bhagavatadishto Martyalokam Jihasata.
Uddhava uvacha nanute tattva sangradya rishiko sharavantike sakshat bhagavatadishto mati lokam jihasata.
Buddha uvacha nanu te tattva samradhya rishi kausharavontike sakshat bhagavatadishto matyalokam jihasata.
Uddhava uvacha nanute tattva samradya rishiko sharavantike sakshat bhagavatadishto martyalokam jihasata.
Uddhava uvacha nanute tattva samradhya rishi kasuravante saksat bhagavat ishto matya lokam jihasata.
Uddhava uvacha nanute tattva samradya rishiko sharavantike sakshat bhagavatadishto martya lokam jihasata.
Uddhava uvacha
Buddha
nanute tattva samradhya rishi kausarvanitike sakshat bhagavatadishto martya lokam jihasata.
Buddha Vacha, Buddha said, Nanu, however, te, of yourself, tapa samradhya, one who is worshipable for reception of transcendental knowledge. Rishi, learned scholar, Kasharava, under the son of Kasoro, Maitreya, Antake, staying nearby, Sakshat, directly, Bhagavata, by the personality of Godhead, Adishta, instructed, Martyalokam, mortal world, Jihasata, while quitting, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Sri Uddhava said, you may take lessons from the great learned sage Maitreya, who was nearby and who was worshipful for reception of transcendental knowledge. He was directly instructed by the personality of Godhead while he was about to quit this mortal world. Although one may be well versed in the transcendental science, one should be careful about the offense of Maryada Pratikrama, or impertinently surpassing a greater personality. According to scriptural injunction, one should be very careful of transgressing the law of Mayarta Pratikrama, because by so doing, one loses his duration of life, his opulence, fame, and piety, and the blessings of all the world. To be well versed in the transcendental science necessitates awareness of the techniques of spiritual science. Uddhava, being well aware of all these technicalities of transcendental science, advised Vidura to approach Maitreya Rishi to receive transcendental knowledge. Vidura wanted to accept Uddhava as his spiritual master, but Uddhava did not accept the post because Vidura was as old as Uddhava's father, and therefore Uddhava could not accept him as his disciple, especially when Maitreya was present nearby. The rule is that in the presence of a higher personality, one should not be very eager to impart instructions, even if one is competent and well-versed. So Uddhava decided to send an elderly person like Vidura to Maitreya, another elderly person. But he was well-versed also, because he was directly instructed by the Lord while he was about to quit this mortal world. Since both Uddhava and Maitreya were directly instructed by the Lord, both had the authority to become the spiritual master of Vidura or anyone else. But Maitreya, being elderly, had the first claim to becoming the spiritual master, especially for Vidura, who was much older than Uddhava. Jai Shri Gauranatai. One should not be eager to become a spiritual master cheaply for the sake of profit and fame, but should become a spiritual master only for the service of the Lord. The Lord never tolerates the impertinence of Mayarta Pratikrama. One should never pass over the honor due to an elderly spiritual master in the interests of one's own personal gain and fame. Impertinence on the part of the pseudo-spiritual master is very risky to progressive spiritual realization. So today I'm in the presence of persons who are more spiritually advanced than me. So I'd like to ask Donovan Maharaj to comment on this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. I defer. So this verse is about the technicalities of spiritual life. And Srimad Bhagavatam gives detailed instructions of how to develop a relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. After the disappearance of Srila Prabhupada and the fall down of the most of the 11 successor gurus, there was the Rithik movement that arose, but this Rithik movement is another deviation, because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquiring from him submissively and render service unto him. The spiritual master can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. So if one tries to worship Srila Prabhupada, jumping over his present disciples, that's an offense. That's transgressing Vaishnava etiquette, and Krishna is never pleased by such an offense. So if we want to go to Krishna, we have to go through the mercy of the spiritual master. Guru Krishna Prasade Bhai Bhakti Lata Bij, as stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita. To enter into spiritual life, one needs two things. One needs the mercy of Krishna, and second, one needs the mercy of Guru. When Krishna sees, Krishna's in your heart, when Krishna sees that you're sincere to solve the problems of life and to go back home, back to Godhead, he sends you a guru. And by the mercy of Guru, he received the greatest gift, love of Krishna. So this process of Krishna consciousness is not simply academic, simply armchair speculation or reading books. Books are also necessary. Well, they're helpful for neophyte devotees especially. But ultimately, one has to develop a living feeling for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the cultivation of knowledge of how great Krishna is. This is very useful, especially in the beginning. By understanding how great Krishna is, one will be inclined to be steady in devotional service. But if we we have doubts about how great Krishna is, if we think Krishna is some historical personality or some famous prince or some other mundane person, then we'll not be able to advance in Krishna consciousness because Krishna's pastimes and qualities and form are not understandable by persons who are not devotees. And for persons who are beastly, who are simply animalistic, Krishna's pastimes are simply a mental disturbance. So this Krishna consciousness is the highest benediction, and there are a few people who are taking it seriously because when you're selling diamonds, there won't be many customers. And Krishna consciousness is a source of the greatest happiness. The goal of life is to enjoy, but nowadays, especially in Kali Yuga, people are trying to enjoy in the wrong way. If you try to find water in a desert, you could go on searching for water, and you could see a mirage in the desert. It looks like a lake in the desert, and if you run there after water, you'll find that it's simply a mirage, and you'll fall down in the desert and die of thirst. So we're all hankering after unlimited happiness. But in this material world, it's like a desert. There's only a few drops of happiness. And it's not enough to satisfy the soul. So if one is intelligent in this human form of life, one has the brain to try to understand your identity. Who are you? Why are you suffering? Who is God? These are the questions of an intelligent person. And one should be intelligent enough to understand that I'm not happy. This is the beginning of knowledge, to understand I'm not happy because I'm like a fish out of water. Our real home is in the spiritual world. And all the great teachers throughout history, Muhammad and Jesus Christ, have taught that this material world is not our home. Our real home is in the kingdom of God, where life is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge. And in the material world, when we're executing Krishna consciousness, there's so many inebrities, there are difficulties, because this material world is by nature problematic, and this material world is meant for suffering. It's not meant to be a happy place. Because we're disobedient to God, Krishna's put us in this material world because we were envious of God. So we came here to try to rectify our envious ways and come to the platform of serving God with love and devotion. And the four problems of life, namely eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, can be solved very easily by becoming a servant of God. These problems are common to both animals and human beings. And if one has the ambition of becoming a wealthy man, he has to work very hard, and he has to undergo many difficulties to achieve that platform of wealth. Just like one of the wealthiest billionaires in the world, Elon Musk, he's working 16 hours a day. He doesn't even own a house. He's performing austerities. He's sleeping on the floor of the factory office in Texas, so that he doesn't have to waste time commuting to and from work. He's working 16 hours a day. For what purpose? Simply for this crackpot idea of trying to colonize Mars. So he's exploiting the resources of this planet as much as possible. Now he wants to exploit the resources of other planets, but it'll never be successful, just like their expedition to the moon planet was unsuccessful. Similarly, try to reach other planets by mechanical means will never be successful. Prabhupada wrote a book. One of his first books was called Easy Journey to Other Planets. And Prabhupada writes how anyone can go to other planets if they so desire. And it's a fact that in our past lives, we're passing through so many species of life for many uncountable millions of years. We've been to higher planets, we've been to hell, we've been to the middle planets. But now, if we're intelligent, it's the opportunity to attain the highest perfection and go to the highest planet, Krishna Loka, because this planet will be destroyed in due course of time. There's everything material passes through 6 stages. It's born, it grows, stays for some time, produces byproducts, and dwindles, and ultimately vanishes. Whether you take a tree or a clump of grass or an insect or a human being or the demigod, even Lord Brahma passes through these 6 different stages. But our real nature is eternal because we're not these bodies, aham brahmasmi. As spirit souls, we have a duty to develop our forgotten relationship with God. And if one revives that lost relationship with God, he experiences a happiness that's 1,000,000 times more than any material happiness. And it's even millions of times more than the happiness of Brahmananda. Nowadays, the New Age people and many Hindus are hankering after Brahmananda. But the pure devotees reject Brahmananda because they found something far superior. For a devotee, Brahmananda is like the water in the hoofprint of a calf compared to the ocean of devotional service. So there's no necessity of trying to solve the problems of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, because these are not real problems for devotee. And because you have millions of dollars, some rich billionaire might be making millions of dollars per day, but still that does not mean that he can mate with millions of women, or that doesn't mean that he can eat thousands of chapatis. Still, his senses are limited. And the birds and insects and animals, they have no economic problem. They have no shelter problem. We can see the birds are taking shelter at the top of the tree, and they're sleeping at night very comfortably. So these are not real problems. A real problem is how to develop our dormant Krishna consciousness. Any comments or questions or additions? Yes. Mataji.
Hare Krishna, if the material world is just of suffering, then what would the suffering be like in Satya Yuga, or the heavenly planets be like?
Suffering is very extreme in Kali Yuga. In Satya Yuga, there were practically no miseries because everybody was situated in Sattva Guna, in mode of goodness. And in the next Yuga, Treta Yuga, material miseries were introduced. And in Dwapara Yuga, material miseries were greater. And in Kali Yuga, it's completely miserable. Nobody's happy. But in Krishna consciousness, there's a chance of becoming happy. Donovan Maharaj.
Okay, Maharaj, we can hear you now. Can you give him a thumbs up? The camera? Yeah, there you go. I'm gonna go.
Hare Krishna. Okay now? Yeah, this topic came up, and Srila Prabhupada indicated that Kali Yuga Kali Yuga for the heavenly planets is like a cloud. One simple cloud passes over the sky. So practically nothing, like you said. It's not very much. These things like Kali Yuga, they're more meant for the middle planetary systems. Thank you.
It's like a cloud passing the sky and the heavenly planets.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Dr. Joseph.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for a wonderful class. You said that we shouldn't jump over the acharyas, that we should go through the proper channels. But it seems like at the beginning of devotional service, we're almost encouraged to, we are encouraged to hear from Srila Prabhupada, more so than anyone else. And I was wondering if you could explain to me why that is.
Because Srila Prabhupada set the gold standard of transcendental knowledge. He's the founder of the Krishna consciousness movement. He spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. So he's Saktavesh avatar. So there's no doubt that he's a pure unalloyed devotee. And his books are very important. Prabhupada said, if you want to know me, read my books. So any one of you can know Srila Prabhupada simply by studying Prabhupada's books. But if the books are changed, then that's an aberration, that's an offense. You cannot change the law books. Prabhupada presented Bhagavad Gita as it is. And if one tries to criticize Srila Prabhupada or criticize the previous acharyas and think that I could surpass my guru, that's an offense. Before the guru, one should always remain a fool. Even Lord Chaitanya, when he was preaching to the Mayavadis, he said that my spiritual master found me a mukha, a great fool, and he told me, do not try to study Vedanta, just chant Hare Krishna. To understand Vedanta is difficult in the age of Kali, but one can attain the highest realization in Kali Yuga simply by chanting the holy names of the Lord. So this is the great benediction of Kali Yuga, even though there's so many faults and so many problems. When the soul goes back to Krishna Loga, there are no more problems in devotional service. There's no more work. But to get to that point, one has to labor very, very hard. One has to control the senses, control the mind. The yoga system means to control the mind. And if the mind is controlled, if the mind is fixed on the lotus feet of Krishna, then all the senses automatically become controlled. So one has to endeavor very hard to go back home, back to Godhead. You see the past acharya, Srila Prabhupada, when he came to New Vrindavan, we all saw that he was working harder than any other devotee. He was practically giving up sleep. He was waking up at midnight and translating Srimad Bhagavatam when all the other devotees were sleeping. Yes, Dhanavir Maharaj.
Yes. I can speak? Okay, thank you. The teachings of Srila Prabhupada and his disciples should be the same. There should be no difference. They should be teaching the same thing. So, but because Prabhupada is the founder Acharya and the preeminent Siksha Guru, as was explained earlier by Shravana Prabhu, it's incumbent, it's important for us to understand what Prabhupada's teachings are, because Prabhupada has proven himself to be perfectly representing the previous acharyas and his spiritual master. But even though we find someone who's able to preach and present Krishna consciousness as Prabhupada has taught, still that doesn't mean he becomes our Diksha Guru. Diksha Guru is a different thing. Diksha Guru and Diksha Guru, there's some difference. So that's the point of this verse, is that even though both may be qualified, still there's some etiquette that should be followed. Thank you.
A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada.
Okay, devotees, let us grab some instruments. Everybody can have some. Okay, so I'm going with what I have here. Thank you, Prabhu. We usually like to wait till the curtains open. Did anyone see the prasad go down? Anybody? Not yet? Okay. So let's wait a few minutes. We'll do some more kirtan. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Shri Gauranga Ki Jai. So, for the pleasure of Shri Shri Gauranga, Lord Narasimha Dev, Prahlad Maharaj, Tulsi Maharani, all the Vaishnava Acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, and all the assembled devotees, we will announce the Sankirtan scores for the week previous or prior. So, we have this week 2 book distributors. Haribo! And in second position with 2 small books, 1 medium book, 2 big books, and 3 Maha big books for a total of 9 book points. Bhakta Joseph, Haribo! And in first position with 3 small books, 3 medium books, 9 big books, and 8 Maha big books for a total of 16 plus 9, 25 plus 1, 26. $28.25 book points. Magadari Das. So we'll give the highlights now. There, let me see. Would you be able to plug that in? Can you plug that TV in? So here you go. I'll share a photo. Is it on the mesh? That one's on the mesh? The other one? Okay. So yesterday we met some devotees. They actually traveled here 6 hours round trip. So they did their yagya to visit, and I wanted to show them. So one devotee, he came and he wanted a picture of Radha and Krishna. So I got this big one, but it was too big for him. But I was there and these devotees said that they wanted it. They traveled from Bentonville, Arkansas, and we took a photo with them. So this is a picture of Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra. They're the same. This is the same painting here. And these two devotees. One is named Shreyas. That means ultimate welfare. And this one, this devotee in the white, his name is Laksh or Lakshman. So they gave nicely donations, and they actually also donated like this outdoor pergola. It's like a very large tent, so we can use that for shading the prasad table to take prasadam outside. So Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai. Dr. Joseph.
Hare Krishna. We went to the plaza on Saturday, and there's this interaction I had in which I approached some Montajis and I was talking to them about the Gita, and they weren't so interested. And I kind of had a feeling that they wouldn't be, but I approached them anyway. But while I was talking to them, another couple walked up and they just like stopped and they were listening to me. And I thought like, oh, great, I'm going to have two groups of people reject me. But I just kept going and tried to be a representative of the philosophy, Srila Prabhupada. And yeah, the couple that walked up on the interaction, they were really interested, turned out, and they tipped $40 for a Bhagavad Gita. I tried to give them some more books, but they were very excited to just take the Gita. And yeah, Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai.
And also, Bhakti Joseph was able to distribute a Bhagavatam to that guy that we met earlier. So he's actually got 4 Maha Big Books and 11 book points. Haribol! I think that makes the total for RBC 41.25 book points. Haribol! Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai.